So it has been a week since I last posted a video, and that makes sense because I actually have not finished any book within that week. But finally, I finished one book which I have read for 2 weeks now. My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. And I must say that after finishing this book, it's awesome. I really love this book. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Freddie and today I'm going to talk about this awesome book, My Brilliant Friend. And it's literally something that I would give 5 star because I just enjoyed reading this book so much. And the language was nice, the characters were nice, everything was nice, I would say, about this book. And yeah, more ramblings to come. So My Brilliant Friend has two characters. One is Elena and the other one is Lila. Elena Greco and Lila Cherillo, both of them grow up in the 1950s in Naples, and their families aren't exactly rich families. You wouldn't say that they have very high income. You can kind of say that their families are kind of poor, and at the same time the surrounding that they grow up in, their neighborhood in Naples aren't exactly like really safe. It was filled with violence, and there were a lot of like crazy stuff going on around their lives. And this novel is actually about the relationship between these two characters as they navigate their lives since they're a kid. We first see them as kids in elementary school in this novel, and by the end of this novel we see them when they're at their teenage years, when they are 16 years old. My Brilliant Friend is actually a part of a longer series with that has 4 books in them. This one is the first book, and the series is called Neapolitan Novels. And for this book, we only see the stories of them when they were kids, all the way until they were 16 years old. These two characters, Elena and Lila, they are actually quite special in the way that they are different from other kids in this book because they are really smart. And as the title implies, you can kind of say that at least one of the character is the brilliant friend, is the smart person. But actually both of these characters, Elena, who is actually the narrator of this novel, and Lila, who is the, eponymous brilliant friend, both of these girls are really smart, really intelligent, and that is actually something that plays a big role in the story. So as we go through this novel, we see how they grow up, what are the challenges that they face, especially when it comes to their school life and also their personal lives with their families, what's going on with their families. And also because they are young people, girls, they are also start to get interested in boys, and we also start to see that aspect of their lives as well. But I must say that even though the way I describe is like super reductive, it's actually like all of these events that are happening in this book, they are actually something that is so compelling, and when you read it, you feel like you can imagine like it's really happening, because you feel like you can sort of connect with these characters. You can connect with Elena and you can connect with Lila, and you can literally picture them in front of your eyes when all of these events are happening to them. Anyway, first impression when I read this book, I actually felt that the writing was really conversational, really casual, and it literally, it literally felt like I was invited into the book. Like the novel just literally said to me, "Oh my gosh, Freddie, come in, come in." And it really had an effect on me because I was really absorbed to it. Even though I said that I took 2 weeks to read the book, it wasn't because of the book itself, but more of external factors. But when I read the book, I was really absorbed, and I was able to kind of place myself in the plot, really imagine what's going on. It's a great experience, honestly. What I really like about this book is that, the main characters, it has a large cast of characters. All of them have their own personalities, really colorful cast of characters. But I was really riveted by the two main characters, Elena and Lila, which are the two girls who are friends with each other. These characters have really unique personalities, and you can pretty much picture them in front of your eyes when you read this book. You can pretty much imagine how they would behave in real life if they were, to appear in front of you as actual person. You can pretty much imagine them as person in this book. They are not exactly people who are like characters who are like one dimensional, but instead you get characters who have real thoughts and multi-dimensional characters who acts in very human-like way. They have weaknesses, they have strengths, and they have both of these things, and both of those things, weaknesses and strengths, are characterized as something that is very real and really honest. And the relationship that happens between these two girls, that part is also something that I find really interesting, because this book is literally about their friendship, which is super electrifying. Like, it has ups and downs and ups and downs, and it's not one dimensional. Like, the relationship between these two girls is not something that you can describe with just one or two words. You cannot really say that the friendship that they have is the same as the friendship that other two characters in a different book have, because their relationship is kind of like it has its own personality. Like, these two girls have their own personality. Elena is the more naive and timid, but more conventionally pretty kind, while Lila is the more ballsy but slightly smarter kind. And their friendship, because of their different personalities, have totally a unique dynamic, unique personality to it as well. It's like the friendship has a very specific, really distinct flavor to it. And when you look at the relationship that they have, you feel like it is something real. Why? Because it's not just hugs and kisses. It's literally hugs and kisses and all other things. In fact, hugs and kisses are like just a small, very, very small part of it. I don't think these two girls are like the hugs and kisses type. What I really like about the friendship is that it also injects a lot of stuff that you wouldn't consider as sweet in a relationship. Like, for example, these two girls are really smart. Both Elena and Lila are really smart, but at the same time, Elena constantly has this tendency to view Lila as this really smart person. And as a result, she tends to feel some sort of envy towards her friend. And it is something that always happens throughout this novel. It's something that constantly comes out. But at the same time, she also has all the love for her bestie. And you see these kinds of emotions just alternating. Like, it's not always love towards her friend. At the same time, she also feels some sort of inferiority, or maybe a little bit of self-loathing towards herself whenever she views her friend. And you would probably say that okay, maybe that is not exactly a good thing, that shouldn't happen in a relationship, in a friendship. But when I see that, it feels really real, because it feels like something that I would experience myself, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would experience this also. It's like when you are with your friend, even if that person is your best friend, I don't think that you will feel all of the sweet emotions with that friend literally all the time, you will probably, or most likely, or definitely have disagreements or quarrel with that friend, and you'll probably be, not on talking terms for a few days. But after that, you are drawn back to each other because, why? Because you're friends with that person. And I think that's the same thing that is happening between Lila and Elena in this book. Even though sometimes they say things that hurt each other, they are kind of aware of it, but afterwards they would be drawn back to each other again, and they do what friends do with each other, best friends. There is also another reason why I really love this book, and I have something to confess. I really love books that have insecure characters. Why? Because I am also an insecure person. So I really like to have books that have main characters who are insecure and not confident all the time. And Elena is definitely a character who is just pretty much a ball of insecurity. The reason why I like insecure characters, it's not simply because I can relate to that character in the book, but also because characters in the story, they have certain roles. They have to do something in order to achieve what they want, because if they don't have anything that they want, then there will be no story. But anyway, imagine that there is a character who is so insecure. They want something else, but at the same time, their insecurity is preventing them from getting that thing. And so, in order to get that thing, they have to overcome their insecurities. And I think that part is really inspiring, because you can not only you can place yourself at that character's shoes, you can relate to them, but also when they are able to overcome their internal insecurities, it feels like something that it feels really enlightening to see that, because you feel like you can also do that. And that's why I really like characters who are insecure. Elena in this novel is super, super insecure. And we see that a lot. And I thought that it's gonna disappear somewhere in the middle of this book, but it actually goes all the way until the end. And I suspect that for the rest of the Neapolitan novels, we will still see parts of Elena being insecure. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen, but if her character is going to be consistent, we definitely have to see some sort of insecurity with Elena in other novels as well. Basically, Elena in this book has this hobby that I'm pretty sure a lot of us really likes to do. I mean, aside from reading, she has this really big tendency to compare herself with her friend Lila. And while it may be objectively true that Lila is slightly smarter than her, they are literally both smart girls, but it simply cannot stop the fact that how Elena keeps on putting Lila on this really, really high pedestal, and think of how good, how brilliant, how smart her friend is, and end up being feeling shitty about herself because of that. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us likes to do that. I know I love to do that, and I would feel shitty afterwards as well. Comparison. It's really nice to see this side of Elena, because it was being presented in a really honest way. And when I see it, I see a character who is super vulnerable, because you don't simply come up to a person in real life and say, I have this issue of comparing myself with another person, and after that I will feel very bad about myself. You don't do that. But when you see a character literally showing these traits, and it becomes a big part of this character in a book, it's pretty much you getting into the psyche of that character, and you can see yourself in that character. And I think it really makes me root for Elena, even though she has this flaw. I I want to see her succeed, because I know how sucky that must be, and also because I'm looking at her from the outsider point of view. She may not see herself as smart, but I see her as a character who is smart objectively and who has her own strengths, and she should be more confident about herself. But the thing is, when we like to compare ourselves with other people, we don't see ourselves that way. And so that's why I find this book super relatable, even though sometimes it feels kind of difficult to see how Elena always compares herself to Lila. At the same time, you feel like there is a possibility that Elena is going to grow from this and she is going to develop into a better character. She's going to learn something from it. And that's literally what I like seeing in the novel. It's a really, really personal journey for me as well. So those are the main things that stood out for me while I was reading this novel. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of other things as well that could be talked about. And if you have anything that pretty much struck you in this novel, I would love to know as well if you have read this book. For me, this novel is really personal. The writing is really accessible, and the characters, they felt very real. And because of that, I enjoyed this book so, so much. So that's it for now, and I hope to return with another video for different books. I am still in progress of reading a few books right now, but it might take some time. I don't know. But anyway, until then, take care and bye bye.